On May 21, 2019, at Huawei's Shenzhen headquarters office, Ren Zhengfei was interviewed by Chinese Central Television and other media. He answered total 42 questions, responding to the hotspots of the market.
Question 1, CCTV question. I am a reporter for live broadcast. You have a military background, so one thing we have in common should be that we are both punctual. How time flies. 4 months ago, in this same place, we had an interview. At that time, the public all felt that Huawei had hit its lowest point. Everyone was so concerned about Huawei, so you started taking many interviews from journalists inside and outside of China. We didn't expect today's situation to be even more complicated, or even more difficult, than 4 months ago. Just now, another media representative took out a photo of a bullet-ridden aircraft. I was also given this same photo. I heard that you like this photo very much, the photo of the badly damaged fighter aircraft.
Ren Zhengfei answered. I first saw this photo on Wukong.com, feeling that the aircraft was quite like our company. So I sent it to my colleagues. The carrier BG thought the aircraft in this photo is akin to its situation and started using it for communications. Later, we found that there were not many problems with the carrier BG, since it has been getting fully prepared over these past 10+ years. So our current situation is that we are repairing our aircraft during its flight so that it can make its way back home.
CCTV question. But this aircraft was able to fly back, because its vital parts, such as its fuel tanks and engines, were not damaged. Only the non-vital parts of its wings were damaged. But if its vital parts were attacked during a flight, how was it possible for it to make its way back?
Ren Zhengfei answered. I want to tell you 2 stories about Germany and Japan during World War II. Germany refused to surrender, so its cities were flattened by airstrikes. Japan was also attacked by intensive bombardments. The US Army threatened that if Japan did not give up, intense bombing would also flatten the country. At the end of the day, Japan decided upon a compromise, which was to announce the country's surrender but keep their emperor. By the time the surrender came, the majority of Japan's industrial infrastructure was destroyed, but the country did not suffer the fate of being leveled like Germany. Back then, there was a famous slogan, even if everything else is lost, as long as people remain, they will revitalize the nation. The truth is, Germany was able to revitalize its economy and restore all its houses to the extent before the war in just a few years. The Japanese economy also recovered very quickly. This was attributable to their talent, education systems, and foundation. This is what matters most. So even if we lose everything else, we can't lose our talent. This includes their qualities, skills, and confidence. This is very important.
CCTV question. Yesterday, U.S. time, the U.S. issued a temporary license to Huawei. In other words, its restrictions on Huawei can be lifted in the following 90 days. What's your view on this license? What could you do in these 90 days? If the news is true and the U.S. cancelled the imposed restrictions after 90 days, how would you comment on such a reversal?
Ren Zhengfei answered. First of all, 90 days doesn't mean much to us, and we have prepared. To us, the most important thing is to do our job well. What the US will do is out of our control. I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to the US companies that we work with. Over these 30 years, they have helped us to grow into what we are today. They have made many contributions to us. They have taught us how to get on the right track and run the company. As you know, most of the companies that provide consulting services to Huawei are based in the US, including dozens of companies like IBM and Accenture. Second, we also have been receiving support from a large number of US component and part manufacturers over all these years. In the face of the recent crisis, I can feel these companies' sense of justice and sympathy towards us. 2 days ago, at around 2 or 3 a.m., Eric Xu, one of Huawei's rotating chairs, called me, telling me how hard our US suppliers had been working to prepare goods for us. I was in tears. As a Chinese saying goes, a just cause attracts much support, while an unjust one finds little. Today, some US companies are communicating with the US government about the approval. The US has added Huawei to the entity list. That is to say, if a US company wants to sell something to Huawei, it needs to obtain approval from the US government. The US is a country ruled by law. US companies must abide by the laws, and so must the real economy. So you guys from the media should not always blame US companies. Instead, you should speak for them. The blame should rest with some US politicians. I don't think we should throw blame indiscriminately without knowing whether it will fall on the right persons. We may end up targeting the wrong persons if we do so. The media should understand that these US companies and Huawei share the same fate. We are both players in the market economy. US politicians might have underestimated our strengths. I don't want to say too much about this, because Ms. He Tingbo, president of HiSilicon, made all these issues very clear in her letter to employees. And all mainstream newspapers inside and outside of China have reported on this letter. You touched upon the damaged aircraft just now. We have some non-core products for which we haven't prepared spare tires, or plan Bs, so to speak. These products will be phased out sooner or later. So the US move will have some impact on these products. But in sectors where we have the most advanced technologies, at least in the 5G sector, there won't be much impact. Not just that, our competitors won't be able to catch up with us within 2 to 3 years.